didn't have a lot of money, but we had a lot of love in our house. Great two incredible parents, and then aunts, uncles. We spent a lot of time together as a family. But growing up in that neighborhood, there was really three things that I learned. One was you got to be tough. Getting a few scuffles when you grow up in a neighborhood like
Mike
that.
Tyson's from Brownsville, guys. All right, we'll go on from there.
I learned how to deal with adversity. We lived on the 20th floor in Brownsville, and every once in a while the elevator wouldn't work, so we'd have to get there, and then we got to walk up 20 flights of steps. So that was something. And the last thing, it motivated me. It motivated me to get myself and my family out of there, and I think I did that.
Here we are.
I have a couple other things. We talked about these two in particular. Fortitude, intestinal fortitude, where we have to be tough mentally and physically. Okay? That's extremely important to us, but also civility. So the combination of that, civility meaning that when you're out in public, you do things the right way. You address people the right way.
Coach Jim Caldwell, now he will step back from full-time coaching to deal with an undisclosed health issue. Caldwell was hired as the assistant head coach and quarterbacks coach for the Dolphins this season. Instead, he will step back to serve as a consultant.
They're bringing attention to my story. Protests. They're bringing attention to my story.
It was the way we went about it, you know what I'm saying? And that's one of the things that bothered me. Chris Greer, me and him have a very good relationship. We handled it the right way. And he was like, I'm not gonna send you to die somewhere, but I'll communicate with you what's coming in and what's not coming in. And
2 first-round picks for Laramie Tunsil. They needed an offensive lineman. Got one of the better ones there with 2 first-round picks, a second-rounder. You imagine that they will lock him up to a long-term deal at some point, the Houston Texans, and then they gave up for Kenny Stills. But as you mentioned, the Texans are all in right now, but you feel like they've really compromised the future with some of those moves. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I definitely do. Plus, I do think it's probably a little rich to pay 2 first-round picks and a third-round pick to the Miami Dolphins for Laramie Tunsil, who has potential to be that franchise left tackle, okay? But he hasn't lived up to his top 10 pick billing yet. I'm not going to put him in the, he's one of the 5 best tackles in football conversation. No, he's not. He's somewhere between 6 and 14, I think, if you ask some coaches around the NFL. That's where he is. So
traded Laramie Tunsil. They traded their wide receiver, Kenny Stills. They traded them to the Texans. So the tanking process has officially begun. You can have a lot of picks, but if you don't know what to do with those picks, you're going to end up like the Browns did in those years.
Dolphins players have contacted their agents about engineering trades out of Miami. Players are questioning whether the coaching staff is serious about competing in 2019. The Dolphins say they have not heard from any agents. Brian Flores was asked about the story yesterday.
Yeah, I can't really speak to the accuracy of that one. We haven't received any information like that, so I think for us, we just need to focus on what's going on inside our building. and not worry about all the anything that's going on outside. I think we got to get better.
If you can't play, you can't play. It's really, really that simple. We understand that the Miami Dolphins, there's no secret what's going on here. I'm not going to sit up there and accuse the Miami Dolphins of tanking games. I'm certainly not going to do that. But what I will say is that they know they stink, and they know that it's going to be a while before they get better.
What does the NFL always say? We want to protect the shield, right? We want to protect the shield, the integrity of the league. This is an affront to the integrity of the league.
It is, but what do you say? I mean, what can you say to them?
That's an excellent question, but I think Roger Goodell, the commissioner, needs to have some sort of discussion here.
Fitzpatrick throwing over the middle, touchdown! Mike Gesicki.
Well, the stadium got real quiet real quick. To knock it away. Can't say enough about the way Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Why don't we start with the reaction to the Pats loss? Rodney, I'm going to go to you first because the New England loss to Miami was probably the one thing Week 17 that we didn't see coming.
Yeah, I was really shocked. I was really shocked. I was really shocked.
Brian Flores decided he needed to make a change at offensive coordinator after his first season as head coach of the Miami Dolphins. Flores elected to bring Shane Gailey in to run Miami's offense as they looked to catapult forward out of a phase of bottoming out and accumulating draft assets in hopes of a brighter future. According to Armando Salguero of the Miami Herald, Flores said the reason Gailey is the right person for the job is his ability to teach and his shared vision for how the offense should be structured. At the end of the day, I feel like for the future of this team, my vision for us offensively, I feel like it's a move we have to make, Flores said.
I have a couple other things. We talked about these two in particular. Fortitude, intestinal fortitude, where we have to be tough mentally and physically. Okay? That's extremely important to us, but also civility. So the combination of that, civility meaning that when you're out in public, you do things the right way. You address people the right way.
Do you have any regrets when you look back at coming back and playing against LSU? And I know that was the game to play with your boys. Coming back a week later, playing against Mississippi State. Would you do it differently in any way at all?
Yeah, I don't think I do any of this differently. I say all of that because, like with the LSU game, I mean, regardless if I played or not, I don't think I would have been able to look myself in the mirror and say, you didn't play because, you were feeling sorry for yourself, or you just were scared that maybe in the draft, you would get bumped down, or I don't know, just all these things. I mean, I don't say I'd change a thing. And then with this injury, I think, I think just big picture, I think it was a great opportunity to kind of show my faith as well, and I mean, I'd like to say not me in general, but with this injury, I think God used it, to kind of touch people. I don't know, it's unique how the big man upstairs works, and I mean, all you can do is just move forward from it. I think if I had gone through this injury and I were to be like feeling sorry for myself, I mean, what good does that bring to anyone, that you love, that, knows you? I mean, I don't think it does anything good, but, when you take a different approach to it, some approach that, I mean, no one usually takes, being happy through the situation, and I mean, everyone kind of looks at that and they kind of feed off of it in some sort of way, whether you know the person, whether you don't know the person.
Spun by evil in the light. Only programmed to agree. Only programmed to agree.
Miami has made its selection at number 5 overall, and it is Tua Tagovailoa. They didn't even have to tank for him. Miami Dolphins select Tua Tagovailoa out of Alabama.
What were you doing when the opportunity came for returning to the Dolphins, and why did you do it?
Why I came back, for those of you that know me a little bit, you know that my faith is very strong, and I just, after talking with my wife and my kids, we felt like this is something that we ought to do. This is where we ought to be at this time in our life. Right at the end of the season, he called, and I was, kind of taken aback a little bit. And but then we talked about it as a family, and we just, I had no idea. I didn't think so, but we just felt like we were being led to do this, and so it was something that we felt very, very strong and very excited and very comfortable with. I can't say it was not a factor. It was, knowing that I would be comfortable with a player that was here, actually more than comfortable. Very excited about working with Fitz again. That was something that did play a part. If it had not been a part of it, it might have been a different story. I don't know. That's the one thing about Fitz through the years. He is a team player. He is a team player, and he is trying to be the best he can be and be a great player. But at the same time, he shares his knowledge.
Hi, Chan. How would you describe the role you expect to have in Tua's development?
Well, I don't know how to answer that exactly. I mean, he's going to develop, quickly or slowly, depending upon how much he grasps the offense and how quickly he comes, and how he develops as a football player. And a lot of that's based on health. So there's a lot of factors in there. I mean, I hope I have a big impact on it, but you don't ever know about that. You have to see how fast and how well a player comes on, and then you see what he does. And we'll treat him just like we treat everybody else. We'll try to put him in a position to be successful when the time comes. And obviously his leadership and his ability to throw the football, his touch, game management, all of that type of stuff. There were a bunch of good quarterbacks. We could have gotten one of several, and we were very glad to get Tua.
Who's going to be your quarterback on Sunday?
I mean, look, we're still going through corrections of the game from yesterday. So, as a staff, we normally kind of start talking about this, this evening. Fitz, I thought we moved the web ball, pretty efficiently yesterday. So, look, I understand where everybody's coming from with Tua, and I get all that. At the same time, he's a young player. He's coming off the injury, so we'll make the decision on the starter. But I would presume that's going to be Fitzpatrick.
In weeks and months past, you've been more definitive about Fitz absolutely being your starter, no question about it. Was there something either in the game or when you reviewed the film that gave you pause, that made you wonder, if he's the right guy at this moment?
Oh, the pause was, we haven't even gone through the corrections on the game. We're actually in the middle of that right now, so it wasn't on based off of anything in the game. So I hope you guys don't take that the wrong way.
For in camp and in practices, or are there still any hesitations or lingering questions in regard to either his hip or the mobility?
No, he's checked all the boxes from a medical standpoint. He has. I think we just look. The honest thing for me is, if it was my kid and he had a serious injury like that, I wouldn't want his coach to be in a rush to throw him in there because of media pressure or anything like that. So that's kind of how I approach this situation, and really all situations with the players. They, essentially, they are my kids. So there's no one's going to pressure me into doing anything. We feel like he's ready to go. We'll put him in. Look, every time we step on the field, we're looking to win. That's how we prepare. That's how we try to, we compete every time we step out there. I don't get into, looking into the future about, what we want to do or what we want this to look like. We take it really day to day, one game at a time. With the idea that every week we're looking to win a football game. And that's myself, that's Chris, that's ownership, that's everybody. We're always looking to make moves with the idea of winning. So.
Hey, good morning, Flo. We asked, talked to Mike Gesicki before. He called Fitz his favorite teammate he's ever played with. I want to ask you, why do you think players love playing with Fitz so much?
I think he brings a lot of energy to the field. Well, I would say first and foremost, he's a great teammate, and that goes, I would say, far beyond what you guys see on the field. So that's their interactions in the locker room, outside of the building. I think that's all plays a part in why he said something like that. But on the field, you guys see his energy, his enthusiasm, his support for his teammates. his willingness to put his body on the line for his teammates. I think that's why you get that type of response from a guy like Mike and other players as well. But to me, that starts, what you see on the field is what you see on the field, but those relationships and that respect is earned, in practice and meetings and, in the locker room. And then it kind of manifests itself into the relationships you see on the field.
Flo, I think when people remember that moment that Tua ran on the field, they're also going to remember Fitzy's reaction to that moment. And he was just hyping up the crowd, hyping up Tua. What does that say kind of about their relationship and just kind of them as people?
I didn't know that, but that doesn't surprise me. I mean, those guys have a great relationship. They root for each other. And those are some of the relationships that are building really throughout the team. You like to see that. And hopefully when you watch us play, people see that. It's nice to hear that. I mean, I didn't actually see it, but I know there was some excitement, once he went in, and I'm happy for Tua. But that's I like hearing that.
Quarter, you guys have made a quarterback change that Tua Tagovailoa will start week 8. Is that accurate? And if so, why are you making the move now?
Yes, that's accurate. We feel like that's the best thing for the team.
Go to Hal.
Brian, how did you reach this decision?
Practice, we talked about it as a staff. Chris, personnel department, we just felt like it was the best move for the team right now. So we talked about it as a staff.
Called the wrap-up smear. You smear somebody with falsehoods and all the rest, and then you merchandise it. And then you write it, and they'll say, see, it's reported in the press that this, and this. So they have that validation that the press reported the smear, and then it's called the wrap-up smear. Now I'm going to merchandise the press's report on the smear that we made.
And to have Leroy, this bum, Chan Gailey, be quoted in this article and say that he was equally as surprised with the move. He says, I was in total shock. We didn't even have a preseason. It was a totally new offense for Tua. We just started hitting our stride. We won 2 in a row, scored a bunch of points, moved the ball well. It came as a shock to me. Oh, we know, Chan, if that is your real name.
But there's no excuse for Chan Gailey. There's no excuse for Chan Gailey. Like, to have him out there and have him running an offense that's different than the one that you ran because you're trying to either protect him or whatever. If you have to change your whole offense at that point of the season because you don't know if the quarterback can run it, the quarterback shouldn't be in there.
We talked about it as a staff.
I mean, he's going to develop, quickly or slowly, depending upon how much he grasps the offense and how quickly he comes, and how he develops as a football player, and a lot of that's based on health.
I wasn't comfortable calling plays. I think the guys that we had last year were phenomenal. I just didn't have, the comfortability of kind of checking plays, alerting plays, and doing that. I just rode with the play, even if I knew in a way that it wasn't going to work. I was going to try to make it work still. I didn't actually know the playbook necessarily really, really good. And that's on no one else's fault, but my fault.
By the way, first year playing in the NFL, Tua is saying what a lot of guys say: little over my skis, going to ad-lib my way out of this. That what he said is not crazy. It's hard. Like they always say, year 3 light goes on. I mean, I've gotten my hands on a few playbooks. It's deep. It's a phone book.
Getting to the line of scrimmage, kind of getting that order of operation down, my cadence, and then pre-snap reads. And then my post-snap read, just the whole shebang with that. I felt, I wasn't comfortable with during my rookie year. Those things that I couldn't work on last year is getting stronger, kind of bettering myself, like I said, with things off the field. And then strength training and conditioning looks a lot different this year than it did last year. I'm trying to get on the field more, trying to be able to move, run, make cuts, and then also work with my dropbacks and, get some throws in with guys. I think my hip feels 10 times better than it did last year. And, the confidence level for myself, I feel really confident coming into this second year, after that injury 2 years ago.
Then to have Leroy, this bum, Chan Gailey, be quoted in this article. We know because you sat up there on the podium and we were like, not to the level of Fitz.
Not to the level of Fitz.
We know that it was a shock to your system because you were out there actively sabotaging Tua Tagovailoa, Leroy. I haven't seen sabotage like this since the like of Ja'Cory Harris, Mark Whipple. He needs to be put in his place because it is enough with Ryan Fitzpatrick.
You just gave the thought process of the quarterback and the offensive coordinator, right? But all the heat of last season fell on Tua. And he wasn't given the best opportunity to succeed.
We talked about it as a staff, Chris, personnel department, we just felt like it was the best move for the team right now.
Reported you guys have made a quarterback change that Tua Tagovailoa will start week 8. Is that accurate? And if so, why are you making the move now?
Yes, that's accurate. We feel like that's the best thing for the team.
Found out on social media about the quarterback change. Surely since then you've had a chance to hear from the head coach. I'm just curious, A, what was his message, and B, what is the team reaction to the quarterback change?
His message was just letting us know. I think just the one thing, he was just off, and that's when we all heard it. He was just off. One thing about Flo, he always makes sure we know news first. One thing about Flo, he always make sure we know news first.
I found out Flo called me to his office and we talked and he's with everything last year and this year, everything, he's real upfront and honest and likes to have those face-to-face conversations. So I definitely appreciate that.
I love Ryan Fitzpatrick, but this isn't some unique indignity that's been visited upon him. Guys get benched all the time. And when he says he got fired, dude, you're still getting paid.
Mike, you're muted. Sorry about that. Tua, what was it like after Flo told you he had some alone downtime? What were your emotions like once you absorbed what he had told you about making his change to making a starter?
Yeah, I was very excited. That's news that I think anyone would love to hear. Being named the starter, at any position. But at the same time, I also felt for Fitz as well, and me and Fitz had a conversation, just about all of this. But and me and Fitz had a conversation, just about all of this. But and me and Fitz had a conversation, just about all of this. But like I've continued to say, I mean, although it kind of hurts me in a way to see Fitz hurt, I'm just very, very, lucky to have someone like Fitz in my corner, regardless of the situation we're in right now. He's just, I hate to say it like this, but it is like this. It's like a father and son.
Were you caught off guard by the announcement, or could you sense that this day might be coming?
Yeah, you never know when your opportunity is given. And when Coach Flo called me, I thought it was like any other call. We usually watch film on Tuesdays. And so I thought he was calling because he wanted me to come up and watch some film. So I usually, get with him to watch film, but it was different.
The news.
Yeah, well, I told my parents that I got a call from Coach Flo, and the GM was in that same room. Coach Flo and the GM was in that same room, and they told me that I was going to be the starter. And so I told them that, and I mean they were excited. They didn't believe me for a little bit. I think my dad kind of joked about it. He's like, after 2 plays or after 2 throws, they want to put you in now. So it was exciting, but my parents were, they were very excited, especially my mom. For mothers, it's just different when you see your son get hurt and then given the opportunity now. So it was cool.
Chan, so everyone knows that the starting quarterback gets the vast majority of reps in practice with the first team. What was there a point before he was named starter that Tua cut into that number, got more reps than normal as the backup? And when was that, if you could be so
No, we gave him the same number of reps most every week. I'm close with Fitz, but guess what? I like Tua. I like Tua a lot, and I think he's got a great future. So I'm excited for him. We do what's best for the football team all the time. That's what we try to do, and that's where we are with this thing right now.
2 weeks ago, you talked about the concern about Tua's injury history, and also you mentioned that he wasn't ready to start for the team. What changed between then and now?
I mean, it's like, any other situation, Omar. Sometimes, guys, a week out, 2 weeks out, 3 weeks out, 4 weeks out. And, I think we talk about kind of situations like this on a weekly basis. He's day to day. He's, going to be back in a couple weeks. And this is no different than that. And, we feel like, through practice and meetings and walkthroughs, that he's ready. And that's how we're going to go moving forward.
be structured. At the end of the day, I feel like for the future of this team, my vision for us offensively, I feel like it's a move we have to make, Flores said.
You know, if you look at Brian Flores' tape, his first year, Jim Caldwell was supposed to be that guy. Jim Caldwell doesn't even make it to training camp. His second year, Chan Gailey served as that guy. Whether Chan Gailey quit or was forced out, you know, you could think whatever you want, but Chan Gailey didn't feel like he was welcome back. And neither was the coaching staff, since all of them were fired. But he was that great year.
Only program to only program to